Wolf Creek Inn is not your typical haunted location. For many years there have been reports of ghostly highwaymen, a vampire-like creature, as well as a piano that will play by itself to an invisible audience. Who lived here and how did the property get its name? Originally built in 1883 and called the Wolf Creek Tavern by Henry Smith, a man who had done very well for himself gaining lots of land. The location for the business was ideal, as not only did it offer great food and drink, but accommodation as well, something travellers appreciated when it took 16 days to get from San Francisco to Portland. When the Oregon and California Railroad was completed in 1887, this only boosted business further, bringing even more people to the location. John and Dinky Dougal took over the business in 1925 and decided to expand the property, especially with all the work being done in the area making travel easier. The extension would accommodate more guests, as well as providing a larger kitchen. In their time at Wolf Creek Inn, the Dougals not only gained a reputation for providing amazing chicken dinners with all the trimmings, but took this opportunity to start a family. Their daughter Jane was born in the Mary Pickford room on the property. By 1935, the Dougals had made the decision to sell up and move on, with the new owners having as much success with the business. It wasn't all tired travellers or local miners that stayed at the inn. American novelist and journalist Jack London fell in love with the Wolf Creek Inn, enjoying hiking in the forests around the property and taking in the ambience of the place. For one summer, London stayed here with his wife and wrote the short tale The End of the Story, as well as finishing off a novel called Valley of the Moon, published in 1913, just 3 years before he died of kidney disease, aged 40. But Jack London was not the only one to find the property captivating, as other celebrities discovered the place and sought refuge from the prying eyes of the press. Orson Welles spent one evening entertaining other guests with stories of his travels, and Clark Gable and his wife Carol Lombard visited the inn so often they became friends with the owner. Apparently the Rogue River attracted Gable the most, as he loved to go fishing here. Other celebrities include John Wayne, who stayed during 1973 while filming Rooster Cogburn, Mary Pickford, Douglas Fairbanks and Anthony Hopkins. By 1975 though, the Wolf Creek Inn was in dire need of some TLC, and the cost of this was more than the owner could produce. Luckily, the state of Oregon decided to come to the rescue and purchase the property. With the help of a federal grant, the Oregon State Historical Preservation Office helped greatly, as their experts worked tirelessly to restore the building to its former glory. And this was no small task either. They studied the original floor plans, looked at what furniture and wall coverings were used, and spent the next 4 years with trained craftsmen getting the property back to how it looked in the 1920s. After all the hard work, the Wolf Creek Inn reopened as a historical museum, inn and restaurant, and it would appear the ghosts that linger here are pleased with the work carried out. Rumoured to be the spirits of past owners, employees, stagecoach drivers and writers, it seems the inn had an everlasting impression on these souls while they lived, drawing them here in death. The first soul is that of a stagecoach driver with a huge secret. It's believed that the spirit died at the inn, and that they were none other than the infamous One-Eyed Charlie, a boss who allegedly drove his team hard, spat his tobacco juice harder, and cussed like Sam Clemens. And what was so unusual about One-Eyed Charlie? Well, when he died, the once feared man was examined, and it was discovered he was really a she. Many of the people who knew her knew she was really a woman and found no reason to challenge her. Times are hard for ladies now, but back then, unless you were a man, you didn't have rights at all. A doctor who examined her said that she had given birth at least once in her life, but no one knew who the child could be. And for those wondering about her nickname of One-Eyed Charlie, it seems that she was kicked in the face by a horse and she lost an eye. Now her ghost has been seen walking around the main floor of the building, pacing as if getting ready for something, as well as having her voice being picked up on EVP. Due to how much he loved the place, there is now a room called the Jack London Room. In this area, his spirit has been seen walking around and his voice heard as if reading aloud from one of his novels. And while haunting the house might be scary enough, these next 3 spirits also haunt the village of Wolf Creek and Wolf Creek City Park. Is anywhere safe from these ghosts? Firstly, you have an old man who has been seen within the walls of the property, and his voice has been caught on EVP2. Many believe he might be a former owner. Also seen wandering around the Clark Gable room is a female entity who could be a former employee or maybe even a guest at one time. Her voice has been picked up on EVP. In the women's parlour of this room, there are many reports of strong odours like perfume. These smells can travel to other areas of the property too. Is this the same female ghost? The creepiest spirit, though, is one that many believe had mental health problems while they were alive and prefers to be seen as some sort of creature. Not only does it walk around the area, but has been seen by staff and guests inside the property too. It looks almost like a vampire, with large fangs and blood smeared around its mouth. There is a rumour that at one time the creature attacked a guest at the inn, biting them, but there are no official records backing this up. Overall, the creature tends to be menacing, but only from a distance. Maybe the ghost is more terrified of us, and that is why it has chosen to project itself as something sinister looking, to keep us away. Back in 2012, the paranormal group Ghost Tracker decided to take part in an investigation at the inn. They walked with a digital camera, inviting spirits to communicate with them. Apparently, the spirits were intelligent and followed the group around the property. At one point, the spirits were told, "I am at the Wolf Creek Inn." And clear as anything, the response was, "Yes, you are." Guests to the property have mentioned feeling they're being watched all the time, as well as severe temperature changes, even though the building is climate controlled. And if you were hoping for a break from your children, don't stay here. Many people have witnessed the sounds of children playing as they laugh in the ballroom area while they kick a ball around. These children are also known to be mischievous, waiting until guests are settled in their beds before reaching under the covers and tickling people's feet. One of the ghost children also likes to sing while sitting near the window, their voice like a whisper on the air. I don't know about you, but I'd hate that. I don't like my feet being touched at the best of times by invisible hands that I can't fight off. The new owners, Andrew and Jessie Schroyer, have also had their own experiences at the hands of playful spirits. One time, when the inn was quiet, the piano started to play on its own in the restaurant, its notes echoing around the building hauntingly. At other times, the sound of footsteps can be heard climbing the stairs, even when the owners know they're alone. Other activities that have taken place over the years include furniture moving on its own, as well as objects disappearing. Lights will flicker and ghostly figures can be seen watching you from the windows. For Andrew, who purchased the property as a non-believer of the paranormal, he has had to come to terms with the fact that his life is now a ghost story. He has had pans fly across the kitchen at him, thrown by unseen hands when he has tried to leave a room. When you are experiencing things on such a frequent basis, it must be hard to ignore what your eyes are telling you. Today, Andrew and his wife Jessie like to think of the inn as a free museum to their customers, a place where people passing by can be educated on the history of this fascinating building. Do you think you would like to visit Wolf Creek Inn? Is there a spirit that you would like to experience if you stayed here? Personally, I think the strange vampire creature or one-eyed Charlie would be interesting to see, though I might change my mind if it happened. As always, until next time, dissectors, stay safe out there.